Final Fantasy VII and the concept of identity. Warning: spoilers for the original Final Fantasy VII and the remake, as well as Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core. One of Final Fantasy VII's main themes is identity, which can be seen through the main protagonist, Cloud Strife, and his antagonist counterpart, Sephiroth. At the beginning of the story, we see Cloud, a first-class soldier, who is recruited by his childhood friend Tifa Lockhart to join Avalanche, an eco-terrorist group seeking to save the planet from the misuse of Mako energy, otherwise known as the planet's lifestream. When Tifa is initially reunited with Cloud at the train station, she notices something different about his character, as well as inconsistencies in his memories. He seems to know several things that he should not, and has forgotten things that he definitely should be aware of. The Cloud we see initially presents himself as a hardened warrior, cocky, stubborn, cold-hearted and disinterested in anything beyond the mission he was hired for. Beneath the surface, however, we start to realise that Cloud is loyal, socially awkward, and well-intentioned, and with time, those close to him start to recognise this too. As Cloud slowly tries to piece together the gaps in his memories throughout the story, we are introduced to the main villain, and increasingly looming presence, Sephiroth. Sephiroth is introduced as a war hero, a legendary first-class soldier, and a poster boy of the Shinra Electric Power Company. Official records state that Sephiroth died in the line of battle, with not much else for detail. However, we eventually find out that this was not the case at all, and that Cloud's and Sephiroth's stories intertwine during a mission at Nibelheim. As we go through the retelling of what happened during the Nibelheim incident, we discover that Sephiroth, Cloud, and Cloud's mentor and friend Zack were sent to investigate an alleged monster outbreak in Nibelheim. While there, Sephiroth made the unfortunate discovery that he was a genetically modified human, born from cells from Genova, an extraterrestrial lifeform with the sole purpose of consuming planets and their lifeforms. The calm, collected, ideal soldier was no more, and in his place was the birth of a monster who descended into madness, murderous, ruthless, and vengeful, hell-bent on consuming the world, developing a god complex. In the same vein, Cloud encounters a rude awakening regarding his past, that he was never a soldier, and was in fact a mere infantryman. After Sephiroth was momentarily defeated by falling into the lifestream, both Cloud and Zack were taken in by Professor Hojo in Shinra, and subsequently tortured and experimented on. Due to these experiments, Cloud becomes mentally broken, weak, and confused. It was in this state that Zack managed to break out and aid Cloud in escaping the laboratory. Eventually, Shinra forces catch up to our protagonists, and Zack is gunned down as a catatonic Cloud is ignored. In his final moments, Zack entrusts his sword to Cloud, telling him that Cloud will remain as his living legacy. In this traumatized and broken state, Cloud then takes on Zack's experiences, background and perceived characteristics, along with Tifa's memory of him and his own idealized self-image as an elite soldier, creating a new set of memories with a complementary persona. When under psychological stress, people can sometimes rely on various defense mechanisms, which are not always completely beneficial, but rather serve as ways for people to carry on and function in society in the face of adversity. In Cloud's case, the trauma caused by the Nibelheim incident, his Mako poisoning, experimentation, and Zack's death led to him completely repressing these memories, and instead living in denial, to the point of adopting a completely different identity. We then have to ask ourselves, what is identity? To answer this, we need to explore the psychology of self, which all hinges on one question: who am I? While there are many popular theories, a common explanation is about self-concept and the idea that who you are consists of your self-image, how you view yourself, self-esteem, how you value yourself, your perception of an ideal self, who you want to be, and your social identity, how other people view you. The concept of the ideal self ties in very strongly to the concept of self-actualization, fulfilling your true potential. However, there never really is a set path for anyone, and it is up to each individual to decide who we eventually want to grow into as a person. With these processes being so key to our perception of who we are, it is of little surprise that in Cloud and Sephiroth's case, their respective revelations have completely uprooted their beliefs about who they are. As we approach the end of the game, we start to understand and appreciate that who you are is less shaped by your past, but more about how you view yourself in the present and what you do with the knowledge and experiences gained. In Sephiroth's case, we find that the discovery of his relation to Jenova had engulfed his entire personality. He became fixated on this, and ultimately tried to channel his feelings of sadness and disappointment into one of a superiority complex and ambition, fulfilling what he perceives is Jenova's legacy: destruction of the planet. Conversely, while Cloud was told to carry on Zack's legacy, he ultimately was able to move on from this fixation, and instead revealed the truth of who he was to the rest of the Avalanche party, in order to face who he was. Through this, Cloud starts to become warmer, open-minded, and more confident. The resolve of being a hero was no longer secondary to a defensive, inflated self-perception, but rather because he had a cause to believe in. Ultimately, the journey of self-discovery is an arduous and lengthy one for everybody. There are a lot of pressures socially to attain certain prestigious labels and avoid undesirable ones. Internal pressure, such as a lack of self-confidence, constant comparison to others, and beliefs such as imposter syndrome, further muddy the waters. And people tend to find themselves lost, asking themselves, who am I, really? The answer to that is unique for everyone. And if there's anything to take away from this video, it's that your past does not have to define your future, and that it is our actions and interactions with others in the present that matter most in our journey forwards.